In this week's one-on-one, we're taking a look at the frontrunners to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. We think we can probably come to an agreement that the number 2 and number 3 overall picks, RG3 and Trent Richardson, are probably the leading candidates. I tend to think that RG3 is going to have the stronger rookie season. You're going with Trent Richardson. Why are you doing that?
Well, Arthur, I mean, it's going to take an amazing season for anyone, I think, to beat out RG3. I think he's going to come in and be a high-impact player right away and has a good chance of winning this award. The reason I'm picking Trent Richardson is he's that one back that can come in, I think, and have one of those seasons reminiscent of what we've seen from some of the all-time greats at his position. Adrian Peterson being the most recent one, the most recent running back to come in and win that Offensive Rookie of the Year award. I think Richardson can be that type of player. He's coming into a situation where there's no back challenging him for carries. He's going to be getting the ball at least 20 times a game. He's coming into an offense with a rookie quarterback that's going to need him, and I think he's the type of guy who can beat even loaded fronts. If teams are stacking the box, he's talented enough to break through it.
Let's stop you right there. You talk about him coming into an offense with a rookie quarterback. That, to me, is a big concern. Not only just Brandon Weeden, but a lack of positional skill players outside of these two. I think that could create problems. You talked about the stacked boxes. I'm obviously going to go there. I mean, not only with the lack of other weapons, but in that division in particular, specialty is stuffing the run. I think Richardson's going to have some pretty tough sledding out of the gate.
Yeah, I think we can both look at these team sporting casts for these players we're talking about and poke some holes. I mean, you look at Washington, I think at wide receiver, I have some concerns there. They do have a bunch of guys that I think play nice roles. Do they have that number 1 guy? Do they have that guy in the mold of Steve Smith, the role he played for Cam Newton last season? I don't think so. I don't think Pierre Garçon is that guy. I don't think Santana Moss is that guy anymore. I know they have some young guys like Leonard Hankerson. Do they take another step? I don't think they're ready to be go-to type of targets. So I could see RG3 having a little bit of a hard time finding the necessary trust he's going to would like to have in one of these receivers, and that can end up holding him back a little bit, and making that transition from being in a spread offense to the pros isn't easy for anyone. I think there's going to be a lot of downs along with some really good ups for him in this rookie season. And,
I can't really necessarily disagree with you. Obviously, Washington put a ton of attention on improving the wide receiving stable. I think they did a good job. Do they have a Steve Smith? Do they have a Calvin Johnson? No, I'm not sure, but I think they have guys who can get the job done. My bigger concern, actually sort of arguing against myself here for a moment, is the offensive line. I think Jamal Brown could be an issue. I'm going to try and turn a negative into a positive here. I think that RG3's movement skills, Mike Shanahan's ability to get his guys on the move, we've seen the level of success he's had with all the Elways, the Steve Youngs, Jake Plumbers of the world. So I think that Griffin is actually going to be able to overcome maybe some of those liabilities in pass protection and turn it into a strength by making plays with his legs.
You mentioned the Redskins' offensive line being a little point of concern for you. I think if you look at Cleveland, offensive line is one of the few strengths on the offensive side of the ball for them. You have Joe Thomas, you have Alex Mack, you have other guys that can come in and get the job done. I think they have a pretty good group up front, and that's going to benefit Richardson big time. Maybe something that hurts RG3 in his first season.
Yeah, very well could be. And again, I really love Trent Richardson's prospects. Obviously, I love RG3's prospects as well. One more thing I'll throw at you. I don't think the Redskins are going to be competing for an NFC East title here. I do expect the Redskins to have a much better opportunity to make a jump up compared to the Browns, who are probably still going to be, in the basement most likely. So, you talk about it more with MVP awards, but sometimes when the numbers are close, you'll look at what the individuals did for their team. I expect the Redskins to make a larger jump, as I mentioned, than the Browns. Maybe that'll be something that works in his favor. One more quick stat I'll throw out. We know that the history has shown quarterbacks are not the favorites to win the Rookie of the Year. There's only been 6 in the history of the award. 5 out of the last 8 years have been quarterbacks. Further evidence this is becoming a passing league. It's clearly a trend, something that's going to work in RG3's favor.
It's going to be an interesting race. I think it's going to come down to the final weeks. These two guys are as good as advertised, I believe, right off the bat. We'll see how it goes.